Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today is going to be video 3 in the selling series, and it is going to be on honesty and integrity. If you've watched the first 2 videos, you saw the first video on perseverance and the second video on homework. And I mentioned that the reason I wanted to do this is I'm often asked, how did you achieve the success you did? And this series is on the 3 words that I always share, and it was hard work, homework, and honesty. So today's video obviously is going to support honesty and some of the stories that I share with that. And with honesty comes integrity. And integrity, the reason I have that in there is because sometimes I feel integrity is tested, because that is where sometimes it's difficult when someone is in that crossroads, and to be honest might not be well received, but that tests your integrity as if you will be honest, even if it's not what they want to hear. So let's go ahead and get this started. So no matter how small, how big the industry, if you think you are an enormous industry, I promise you it's always smaller than you think. And in sales, your word is all you have. And I've always lived by that no matter what, as long as I tell the truth and do the best job I can do 150% every single day, I can lay my head down on my pillow and sleep sound. And honesty. Sometimes there are questions you don't have the answer to. There are questions that come up that I don't have the answer to. Now, obviously, if you've done your homework and you've done research, that can better prepare you to receive questions that come your way, because by doing your homework, you have the knowledge that when those questions come that way, you at least, hopefully doing your homework, have prepared yourself to answer those questions intellectually. So if you're in a meeting and a question is asked, or if I'm presented with a question I don't know, the first thing I say is, I'm sorry, I do not know the answer to that. I can make a phone call, or I can try to get the answer. I promise there is nothing wrong with saying that. They are going to respect you more by being honest and saying you don't know, than trying to feel like I've got to be the guy or gal that knows everything. There cannot be anything that I don't know. I'm just gonna, I think, wing it and try to fix it afterwards. Huge mistake. Just be honest from the get-go. There are some meetings that I have been in, and I have 5 questions that I need to find answers to by the end of that meeting. And most of the time what I do, because I believe follow-up and timing is crucial in everything we do, is I try to get the answers to all of those questions before I leave, so I can give them and provide them with that answer face to face. And I always leave with, if there's anything else that comes up or a question that comes up later, please let me know. As if I don't have the answer, I'll find the answer and get back to you. And they will respect you more for saying. And integrity. Sometimes, whether you are asked your opinion, do you give your opinion? If it's an honest opinion, I give my opinion, even if I don't think it will be well received, because they ask my opinion. And having a voice has always been important to me also, but being truthful with that voice. And there are circumstances throughout my career where I have been honest and I'm going to share a story, and whoo, did it get hot and did it get heated. And this was a customer, this has been years ago. When I say years, this has been years and years ago. And I had a customer that was one of my top 5 accounts that I had. I was covering the entire state of Florida at the time. And this customer was getting 3 huge shipments from us Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. 3 deliveries. And obviously I'm going to say this was commodities. This was diesel fuel. This was 10W30, 520, 530. You name it. We had 500-gallon tanks. Everything was full. There was case goods. There was everything. And that was a very high volume location. So I had a great relationship. Again, top 5 customer. So go in there, say hello, always speak to the receptionist. I always speak to the receptionist, and go in and see the manager, and he's like, hey, how you doing? And I'm, anything okay? Any issues or anything? He's like, nope, everything's running smooth. I want to introduce you to a new guy I got. I'm like, oh, okay, this is, wonderful. So he introduces me to the gentleman and nice to meet you, and welcome him aboard and tell him I look forward to doing business together. And he lets me know, well, no offense, but I'm going to be buying from so-and-so. And I'm like, oh, okay. Is it pricing? Is there, what is the reason? Because now this person right here on the counter, I have just identified he's fixing to go to a competitor. So, and from video 2, why? And I said, is it price? Is it product? And he said, no, it's a spiff. And I'm like, okay, it's a spiff. Okay. And I said, so what is their spiff? And he goes, oh, it's cash every Friday or a gift card for using them. I said, oh, they pay you cash or a gift card every Friday for using them? And he's like, yep, I can stay on board with you if you want to get on that wagon. And I literally, for a second, I'm like, is this guy joking? Is he seriously joking? And again, you're in these situations where the number one thing is I've got to control my facial expression and try to maintain a smile on my face. And I said, so then I looked to see if the manager is there, and he's standing there. So I said, it was so nice meeting you. Pleasure meeting you. Shake his hand. I'm sure I'll see you next week. So I'm like, can I speak with you in your office? No, just go ahead. What you got? I said, well, I kind of wanted to talk with you about there. Did you just hear what he said, that if I pay him, he will continue to use our company? But, and I said, I'm not going to pay him. And he's like, well, I was going to talk to you about that too, because they're going to pay me as well. Literally, again, controlling the facial expression and wanting to pick my jaw up. And I'm like, okay. I said, so they're going to pay you as well? He goes, yeah, all you have to just come by and pay us. So he's like, you come by, give us cash or give us a gift card. And I'm like, based on what? A percentage of the sales. And I said, oh, what percentage of the sales is this we're talking about? And he shares the percentage. I said, I'm not going to buy your business. I said, is there any issue whatsoever with our service? And he's like, no. I said, is there any issue whatsoever with our product? And he said, no. I said, is there any issue with the billing, the accounts receivable? Is there any issue whatsoever with our company? And he's like, no. He goes, but we have an opportunity to get some cash from a vendor, and we're going to go with them, and they're going to pay us every Friday. So the guy on the end says, it doesn't have to be Friday. It can be Wednesday, any day of the week. I'll take cash any day of the week. So again, I feel like sometimes you need an Academy Award for controlling your facial expression. So I just kind of look at him and I'm just smiling. So I turned back to the manager. I said, I'm not going to pay you. I said, I don't believe in that, and it's not right. We've been a great partner to you. And the fact that you're telling me you're on board with him, that you're going to go to the competitor unless I spiff you any day of the week, apparently. And he goes, yeah. And I said, well, I'm really, really sorry that you feel that way. And he's like, okay. So I leave. I tell the receptionist, goodbye, have a wonderful day. It wasn't like a receptionist. She was kind of like the receptionist, but she was also the cashier. So of the customers that came in, she had managed all the keys, the vehicle keys, and their work orders and all that kind of stuff. So I leave. So once a month, I had a meeting with the owner to go over the sales, pricing, inventory, everything. Because while the majority of their purchases for us were bulk commodity items, there was an enormous amount of case goods also that we supplied them with. So I remember going in to sit with the meeting, sit down with him, going over everything. And I knew now my week had totally dropped off, because Monday's shipment we got in, but he completely canceled Wednesday and he canceled Friday's delivery. So I already knew I had great weeks, and then this week was just a complete stop, not even a flat line, it just stopped. So it was going through the weekly stuff, the inventory, the purchases, and he's like, what happened? And I said, the sales. So I said, the sales. And then lo and behold, guess who walks into the meeting? The manager, and takes a seat right beside me. And I'm like, okay, this is going to be wonderful. He's going to be able to say what happened. And he said, there's nothing down here for Wednesday. Are you having your delivery today? And I said, no, sir, we're not. And then the manager speaks up and says, no, I canceled the delivery for Wednesday, and I canceled the Friday. We've gone with so-and-so else. And the owner looks at him and says, you canceled the deliveries? Why did you go with, why are you on with so-and-so? And he goes, it's the service. We can't continue to service our customers with their service and late deliveries and shorting us product. I remember it was all I could do to hold the arms of the chair and literally not want to get up and hogtie that man. I was like, are you kidding me? And I remember looking over and he's talking about the company that I work for and the company that I represent, and that our service, and that we are shorting, we're not delivering all the product we're supposed to, and our service, we're late with deliveries. And I said, that's not true. And he goes, yep. And he goes, I told you last week when you came in about your service that you didn't deliver the product. And I said, you and I did not have that conversation. We had a completely different conversation. And he said, Bridget, is that true? And I said, no, sir, he is not telling you the truth. And he goes, I'm telling you the truth. She doesn't want to accept that we're taking our business elsewhere, and I let her know. And I said, that is a lie. That is not the reason he took his business elsewhere. And if you ask him to tell you the truth, hopefully he will tell you the truth. And he said, I just told you the truth. And I am just floored. And this is where all I can ever be is honest. It's just how I am. I've always been very direct, straightforward, tell it like it is in any situation. And I said, that is an absolute lie. And I was trying to make sure I did not kick it into the mom voice, because I was already trying to control my facial expression. And I'm like trying to maintain and be cool, calm, and collective. And I said, that is not the truth. That is a lie. He has gone with another vendor because I refused to pay his team on the counter cash. And he just looked there. I said, yeah, when I was in here earlier this week, I got introduced to the new team member on the counter, and he told me he was going to go to the competitor, and I mentioned the name of the competitor, and if I didn't pay them cash or a gift card, and then I approached him and said, did you hear all that? And he said, yes, that he is being paid also. That is why he canceled Wednesday's delivery. That is why he canceled Friday's delivery. And I straight up asked him, does this have anything to do with our service? Does this have anything to do with product, with price? Are there any issues whatsoever with our organization? I specifically asked him if it was anything with accounts receivable, billing, anything. And he said, no, they have an opportunity to make some extra money. I said, that is the truth. He looked at his manager and said, I'm going to ask you one more time to tell me the truth. Who is telling me the truth? And he goes, how many years have I worked for you? How many years have I worked for you? I'm telling you the truth. You can go ask the team right now. So he said, Bridget, I need you to get all the stuff out of the stocking room, and you have till tomorrow. You can get it all out, and don't ever come back and set foot on our property. And I said, okay, yes, sir. So I remember I got up, I got my bag, got all my papers together, and I went out. I got my vehicle. I loaded everything up, every single bit of inventory that we had in the storage room. I loaded it all up. I took it back. On the way to our warehouse, I remember I called my boss and I said, I need to talk to you. And he was like, I'm fixing to walk right into the doctor's office. Can I call you this afternoon or tonight? And I said, yeah, that's absolutely just fine. Absolutely just fine. So I'm like, okay. So I was driving home from work. It was probably, 5:30, 5:45, and I get a phone call from the owner. And he said, Bridget? And I said, yes, sir. And he said, I want you in my office in the morning at 8 a.m. and I want your supervisor there with you. And I'm going, man, this day just keeps getting better and better. This is just wonderful. Okay, yes, sir, I'll see you there. So I call my boss back, and he's like, hey, sorry, I was going to call you back. And I'm like, no. I said, what I need to talk to you about, I said, I need you to meet me at so-and-so in the morning at 8 a.m. They want me there, and they want my supervisor there. And he goes, okay, I'll meet you there in the morning. And I said, I'll tell you everything. He goes, no. He goes, I'm going to find out everything in the morning anyway. Just meet me there. And I'm like, okay. So wanting to tell my side of what happened, but I wasn't going to press it. So 8 a.m. in the morning, getting to the office, he's not in there, but his assistant walked us in there. So I'm sitting in the office, and I remember sitting there thinking, oh, okay, this is wonderful. And my boss is sitting there in the seat beside me, and it's like, good times. These are great times. And he comes in, and I introduce him to my boss, and they shake hands and sit down, and he goes, I appreciate you coming here on such short notice. And Bridget, I appreciate, one, you answering the phone when I called you, and you being here at 8 a.m. in the morning also. And he goes, there's something that I wanted to tell you. And I'm just sitting there. And he said, yesterday afternoon, Susie is the receptionist slash cashier at this location that all the customers go to, you know, to pay for their repairs. And he said, Susie, I ran into Susie yesterday, and she said, did I see Bridget taking all the inventory? And he goes, yeah, I told her to clean out all the inventory and not to ever come back on our property. And he goes, what's this about? And she says, what's this about the conversation that she had with so-and-so on Tuesday? And he said, were you there on Tuesday? And she goes, yeah, I was sitting right at my desk. And she had a conversation with the new team member and Mike. And he goes, come on, Susie, come in my office. And this is him telling me and my boss that she came in and she gave, and he said, Susie gave, it was like she gave word for word. He said, Bridget, she backed up every single thing that you said and every single thing that Mike denied that he had said. And I'm secretly thinking, yes, thank you. And again, this is why you talk to the receptionist. This is why you talk to everybody and be nice to everybody. So I'm thinking, oh my gosh, but it didn't stop there. He goes, so when Susie told me that, and then I thought, I flat out asked him, are you telling me the truth? And he threw it back at me. How long have I worked for you? And you're going to choose to believe her over me? And he goes, and I believed him. He goes, so then I decided I'm going to call some of the other suppliers and other vendors and see if they are paying him. And I had asked Susie, do you have any of the other sales reps' cards? And she said, yes, I do. And so she gave me the cards. She goes, I called 3. He goes, 2 out of the other 3 were paying them. He goes, so then that got me thinking, if he would take money in cash, and even if someone wasn't the best price, wasn't the best product, that he was buying from them because he was getting something out of it, I started looking at other areas of our business. And he goes, come to find out, my scrap metal, my recycling, and everything he has been taking funds from. And he said, so I wanted to apologize to you, Bridget, and I wanted your boss here so I could apologize to you in front of him and let you know how sorry I am for not believing you, but I hope you understand. I was given this guy that had worked for me, trusted to run this entire department at this location, the benefit of the doubt that he would not look me in the eye and lie to me, but he did. And not only did he lie, he's been taking money from the organization. So I wanted you to come here, look you in the eye, and apologize and let you know that he's been terminated and so-and-so has been terminated as well. And I said, thank you. I said, thank you for that. And he goes, and get your stuff. And he goes, I'm so sorry. He goes, if you want me to have someone go to the warehouse and pick it up and bring it back. And I said, no, that's okay. Any chance I get to do cardio, that's fine. I have no problem bringing it all back and setting everything up. And, you know, he kind of chuckled. And I said, it's no problem. I said, I really appreciate that. And he goes, no, I appreciate you not backing down and staying firm and saying that you were telling me the truth. So that was hard. That was hard. I was going up against a manager, but he was talking bad about our team. You know how we always say great news spreads, but negative news spreads faster? Again, this is a large industry, but this was an owner of this organization who I knew other owners of other organizations, other businesses. The last thing I ever wanted was to him believe, one, our level of service was subpar, that we were not meeting their expectations on service. So that was one. But then the integrity I wasn't going to back down. If I lost that customer, oh well, I had lost that customer. I go to my pipeline and and I'm working that pipeline to fill that gap. But I was tested, and I still always say honesty and integrity is the best policy. So what happened? That man must have told every friend and business owner that he knew about me. My phone was ringing off the hook. And the reason I say honesty played such a big part in my success in moving up through the field at such a rapid pace is that the majority of the customers that started coming my way in contracts and opportunities was referral. That man referred so many other businesses in the area, some that were an hour away, 2 hours away, with his network that he knew, and they came to me off his recommendation. And you know, I would hear things that they would say, man, he had this to say about you. I said, I'm a fool if I don't buy from you and bring you in. And I would always be flattered and say, thank you so much. But that meant the world to me that he shared that positive outcome, and all that business came. So when you are honest and you will stand up for what you believe in and tell the truth, even if you don't think it's going to be well received, you may be surprised sometimes. I also remember a time in a meeting, this man had like 10 locations, and one of his locations was kind of in like a rural outlier area. It wasn't in a metropolitan area like the others, but they had the traffic. They had the vehicle count, the car count was there, had technicians. They weren't lacking technicians, but they had 2 people up front. One I always felt was a rock star that could sell ice to the Eskimo. And I was in these locations once a week. And in a business review meeting, I remember he said, I don't understand what's going on with this location. Maybe I just need to punt this location, and it's just not working out in the town. And I thought, okay, Bridget, here we go. And I said, it's not that location. You're getting the car count. I said, that road out there, you're one of the few reputable shops out there. I said, you're getting the car count. I said, I'm going to be completely honest and tell you what I think your issue is, and there's 2. And he was like, okay. And I said, 1, you have so-and-so on the counter that is fantastic. You have your other guy. I said, he's like a deer in the headlights. I said, I go in, I know him. He's personable with me, and he smiles and he looks at me. I said, but the customers, there's no eye contact. There's no connection. I said, he is looking down the whole time, and he's not connecting with the customers. I said, this isn't a fun purchase unless you're jacking up that Jeep, putting the, worn grill on your Jeep or your 4x4, or fixing up your Ford Kings Ranch or something. Most of the time, a car repair is that emergency expense you didn't plan on. You save stuff, you have to plan, because every month there's going to be something, whether it's braces or something's going to come up. That car is that. It's not a fun purchase. I said, you come in, you want to make it as pleasant an experience as possible. And he's not even making eye contact with them. He literally will look down. I said, and I see it week after week. I said, because if there's a customer there, when I get there to your location, I have a seat in your waiting room. And I'm waiting till there's nobody there. Customers first, always. And I see it, and I observe, and I'm witnessing this. And that to me, if you work with him and you coach him, or maybe do some role play, I said, if there's anything I can ever help with, I will help. I said, and the other thing, I said, and I apologize, because I said, I'm so sorry if I hurt your feelings by saying this. I said, but I've been honest with what I think one of the issues is why you're not closing the sales and closing those jobs, but you're getting the foot traffic. And I said, the waiting room is dirty. And he's like, you just called my shop dirty? And he was like dead serious. And I was like, I said, you have a beautiful shop. You have a beautiful shop, but your television. I said, your television screen is so dusty. I said, and the floor, the floor is dirty. I said, in your magazines, you have women come in there and you have nothing but Sports Illustrated. And some of them are a year old. They're not even current. And then he chuckled. And I thought, okay, he's not going to be totally pissed that I just said his place is dirty. I said, I would take some pledge to the TV and clean the TV. I would keep your Sports Illustrated, get some current Sports Illustrated on the table, but get something for women. And I said, and the floor. I said, I can't speak for every other woman out there. I says, but if I'm going somewhere, I want to go somewhere where the floor is clean enough for me to set my purse on the ground. I said, and I've got to think that my mom and my grandma and my aunt and my sister, that everybody feels the same way. I said, because I sit in your waiting room while I'm waiting for your team, to talk to the guys, and I see it. And I said, that's just something that I think you can do that might seem small, but I think it would help. So long story short, he worked with a guy. He had me come out. I met him one day early at like 6:30 at a shop and worked with a guy, and we had a chuckle. He didn't take it too bad because I had a great relationship with him, and he turned it into like an incentive, fun incentive thing on how much he could smile and how many people he could wow and stuff like that. So it was really fun. And he got so many compliments on his waiting room from customers that had come back. So I remember he called me and said, man, I wish you would have told me that earlier. I said, well, I tell you when we're face to face, you know. So, but those are two things someone might have been afraid to say. But sometimes, honesty is always, it's always the best way to be. And sometimes if you have that partnership and you have that relationship and they ask you a question, answer them honestly, because someone else may be being honest with them because they're sugarcoating something or they're skirting around the issue. And if you're a true partner, you're going to be as honest as you can because you want them to succeed. And that's mentioned, you know, through and through in video too. So this has been the video on honesty and integrity. And remember, the smartest thing you could ever do if you don't have the answer to a question is say, I'm sorry, I don't have the answer to that, but I will make a phone call and find out and get back to you as soon as possible. So thank you so much. If you have your own story of honesty and integrity, please leave me a comment, send me an email. I absolutely love reading all the emails. Those of you that don't want to leave a comment that are emailing, I love it. Keep them coming. And the comments, those that want to leave a comment, thank you so much. If you like this video, please give it a huge thumbs up. If you haven't yet subscribed, I would love it if you would click the little red button to subscribe. And stay tuned for video 4, work ethic. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.